Dylan is an example of everything that is good about a police officer.
He had such an honorable reputation around him, and I choose to remember that.
I hope he's happy wherever he is.
Now on Denver 7 News at 5, a 27-year-old police officer with his whole life ahead of him gone in an instant. The memorial today for Dylan Vakoff.
People are flocking from all over the world to say goodbye to Queen Elizabeth II. Overnight, how the royal farewell is overwhelming London.
I think you'd have problems in this country, the likes of which perhaps we've never seen before.
President Trump reacting this morning to threats that he may be indicted after the FBI raid on his Mar-a-Lago home. We have new details about the Department of Justice investigation into the handling of classified documents.
And your Denver Broncos are back at Empower Field Sunday for their home opener, but win or lose, the fans are winning at the concession stand, Mile High, going high class in the stands. And
not hot dogs, huh?
no,
yeah,
not
nice.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, gourmet style. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Another really nice start to the day, Lisa. Should be a beautiful one before it heats up again this weekend.
It was gorgeous yesterday. Really very pretty. We saw a couple of thunderstorms roll east over the plains, and a similar situation today. You're going to see sunshine this morning, 40s and 50s as you step out the door early on. It will be a bright dry for us this morning. 48 right now in Erie. You're at 50 in Littleton and 48 in Castle Rock. Just above freezing again there near Berthoud Pass and also up and through Fraser. Highs today are going to be at right around 78 to near 82, so it will be a little warmer. Right where we're supposed to be this time of year, low to mid 80s, close to that normal high, 60s and 70s for the mountains. Now, early this morning, we are seeing some wet conditions up over the northwestern corner of the state, and we'll see a few more storms develop and roll east here later this afternoon. I'll show you that. Plus, that full Broncos forecast, whether you're stuffing your face with burgers or brisket. That's Jason's favorite tailgate food.
Yeah, I love those pulled pork sandwiches too. Are you kidding? Oh yeah. Anyway, we right now have a couple of trouble spots, one over by the airport. I'll get to that in just a second. This section of Colfax between 6th Avenue over here by the office park is closed down right now because of what they're saying is fire activity. It also was reported as a vehicle fire out there. So with the fire department in there, they wanted to keep all traffic off of that right now. You could actually just run up to Morrison, then come back and get around it that way. You can actually see some leftover traffic still over here on I-70 over by 225 from that construction project that's still lingering. And there is a wreck here on 56th Avenue on the eastbound side trying to get past Pena Boulevard. It is backing up traffic in the area. Green Valley Ranch can help you get around it coming out of Mount Bello, coming off of Chambers. So there are ways around it. It's just going to take a couple extra minutes. The rest of the east side drive looks okay.
A life taken far too soon. Today, the community will lay to rest police officer Dylan Vakoff. He was shot and killed last Sunday.
It will be an emotional day. Friends, family, fellow police officers from all over will come together to remember Officer Vakoff, who grew up in Arvada and was an Air Force veteran as well. So no doubt there will be a tremendous show of support and respect for him today. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is live from the route he will travel as he's laid to rest.
And it's likely going to be a really tough morning, not only for Officer Dylan Vakoff's family, but also his friends, like you mentioned, the people that he met along the way to becoming an officer, and even the likely hundreds of Coloradans who we're going to see lining that procession route, trying to pay their respects to the late officer. He was only 27, you guys, like you just mentioned. He'd only been with Arvada PD for 3 years. He was trying to be a part of Arvada PD's SWAT team there as well. And before all of this, he was a part of the Air Force. We actually spoke to one of his Air Force friends who told us Dylan Vakoff was nothing more than a light.
I think they would describe him as selfless. I think they would describe him as joyful, positive, just a person who was enjoyable to be around. And if you had any sort of team, whether it was a Air Force team, like our great squadron we had out there, or as a member of the police force, he's the kind of guy you wanted on it.
Dozens, if not hundreds of people stopped by the officer's squad car over in Arvada to pay their respects this week. They dropped off flowers, notes, pictures even. We expect the same today. Likely hundreds will wait for Officer Vakoff to pass alongside them. Today's funeral is meant to remember the officer and also support his late family, or his family members rather.
The whole process of this planning this memorial is driven by what the family wants, and everything else takes a second seat to that.
And that funeral service, it is happening right here behind us at the Flatirons Community Church. Of course, we'll keep you updated all morning long. I'm Veronica Acosta reporting.
Well, as we've talked about, Veronica, Arvada has been through a lot. Officer Vakoff's death comes just over a year since the police department lost Officer Gordon Beasley. But today, a group will honor one of Beasley's passions by doing something good for the community. This is the second year of the Beasley Bike Build. Townsend, a retirement planning company, is partnering with Wish for Wheels to build 80 bikes for second graders at 2 schools in Arvada. Officer Beasley was known for riding bikes to school with the kids at Oberon Middle School, where he was a resource officer. Madison Peterson, who is an Arvada native, told me they will hold a moment of silence at today's event for Officer Vakoff today as well. She hopes this can be an uplifting afternoon for a community that's hurting.
As we continue to do this, more and more people want to be involved, because when you see that second grade student smile and they cry and they, run to their parents and show their parents that they know how to ride a bike and they can strap on their own helmet, it's an immediate reminder of how simple life is and how many things we take for granted.
And today will be a surprise for the kids, so we won't say which schools are getting the bikes, but 120 volunteers are helping to build them. You can stay with us for coverage of Officer Dylan Vakoff's service today. Our live coverage of the procession will begin at 8:30 a.m. and then you can watch the memorial service at 10 o'clock here on Denver 7 or the Denver 7 Plus app. We'll also be streaming it on denver7.com.
2 teenage boys are in jail this morning for a shooting that injured another teenage boy and a 20-year-old man near East High School. Denver police say it started after school let out with a fight near the Carla Madison Rec Center. 14-year-old RJ Harding was an innocent bystander and was shot in the face. Denver 7 spoke exclusively to his mother, who says his son has a long road to recovery, but is at least in good spirits.
I'm happy that this hasn't broken my son's spirit. He's a boxer. He still wants to box. He still wants to come to this same school.
Great to hear. At least Denver police say one of the teens arrested is being held on suspicion of attempted murder. Another is being suspected of being an accessory to a crime. Well, we turn to the images coming out of London this morning. A moving scene as mourners are waiting hours to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth II. The line right now, the queue, is 5 miles long.
And new overnight, in fact, it's so long the UK government has put a 6-hour pause on allowing any more people to join the line there. People are being given wristbands to track their place in line even so no one cuts. ABC's Inez de la Cuetera has the latest from London.
Overnight, that incredible line of mourners snaking through central London, thousands patiently waiting to pay their respects to Britain's longest reigning monarch. Inside Westminster Hall, Queen Elizabeth II lying in state until Monday's funeral, viewing open 24 hours a day. In line, we meet Nicola and Mattia, who still have a few hours to go.
About 4 hours? Yeah, I think we've got about 3 hours left.
The line stretching along the River Thames, reaching close to 5 miles at one point.
We've been meeting lots of people. Yeah, it's been enjoyable, but yes, my feet are actually aching. I'm so happy I wore flats.
King Charles III and the royal family expressing sincere gratitude for the outpouring of support they've received from around the world as the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, viewed flower tributes in Sandringham. William confided in a well-wisher, saying walking behind his grandmother's coffin was difficult and reminded him of his mother's funeral.
Doing the walk yesterday was challenging. Back a few memories.
Meanwhile, preparations are now underway for the Queen's funeral on Monday, some calling it the most complex security operation London has ever faced. Guards rehearsing under the cover of darkness as law enforcement gears up for an unprecedented response, which, according to the BBC, will include roughly 1,500 military personnel and thousands of police officers.
Terrorists like to attack crowds, and we are about to create possibly the biggest crowd in recent history.
And President Biden is expected to attend, as are the leaders of France, Canada, and China. World leaders are being asked not to use their own state cars to attend and instead ride government buses. But a government official tells ABC News that will not apply to President Biden. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, London.
A big development here overnight. A judge ruled the Justice Department can't not use the classified documents it seized from former President Trump's home for its criminal probe. The DOJ says it will appeal that ruling. Instead, Judge Eileen Cannon is prioritizing Trump's assertion of executive privilege as a former president, saying that supersedes that of a current president. The judge has named a special master, Judge Raymond Deary, to filter potentially privileged documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. Amid all this, this is what Trump said yesterday about public reaction if he were to be indicted.
I think if it happened, I think you'd have problems in this country, the likes of which perhaps we've never seen before.
Trump's lawyers have dismissed this whole investigation as simply a records storage dispute. The investigation can continue, though, even if the DOJ is cut off from the documents. The DOJ is also looking into Trump's potential role in the Capitol riot and campaign fundraising.
It is now just about 5:12, and early this morning it's going to be chilly at the bus stop, but sunny skies, nice start. Low to mid 50s early on. Will be at about 80 degrees by the time your kids get home this afternoon. Hitting highs in the low to mid 80s today and tomorrow, and then pretty toasty on Sunday for the Broncos game. We'll take a closer look at that in your tailgating forecast coming up.
We've had some pretty active early morning activity. A wreck over there by DIA and eastbound 56th, right there at Pena Boulevard, causing delays. This is a new big wreck out in Wheat Ridge, out to the west side of town. This is the westbound side of I-70, right after Ward Road before Highway 58. You see one pickup truck over there, another one over here. So the whole right side of the highway is blocked, and they have the flares up. So looks like they'll be camped out here for some time. Heavy now from Kipling Ward Road, getting on out towards Golden right now.
We're kind of stuck. We're pretty much homeless.
People in Aurora at a loss for what to do after an explosion at their apartment building. The circumstances making it even harder for them to move on and start over.
And spooky season is back. The new Fright Fest across the Denver Metro welcoming all you Halloween lovers starting tonight.